one of the emotional feels or emotional tones of like the lover's like vibe or archetype in your dream is like you feel like you're in a space of either like indecision or you have to make a choice or you're at a crossroads. Maybe there is some feeling of escapism as well that can come with that because it's like, well, I like absolutely don't want to do this. So it's like you have these extremes or the duality in that way, just feeling conflicted, feeling torn about what to do. I think also lucid dreams in itself can be an active, like
Oh,
the
for
love
sure.
kind of energy where it's like all of a sudden when you're lucid in a dream, you have a choice. You always have the choice of like, do I go with the dream or do I change things?
Yep.
Um, so I would say that in itself kind of has that same vibe to it. Welcome to Journey Through the Universe. We are back with another episode in our series, Tarot and Dreams. And in this episode, we're talking about the Lover's card. I'm so excited for this one. And we're going to share all the things about it. But first, I just want to check in. Alexis, how are you feeling today?
Ugh. I am feeling like, okay, so I am definitely maybe 3 days from my moon, I think sooner. And all day I've been reminded that I'm only 3 days away. I have been going through like depressive feelings and anger and frustration and misery and sadness and then like rage and all these like random negative feelings all throughout the day. I've not really been able to get off the couch to do much and like
Mm.
I I have been huffing and puffing over everything. I'm sure George has heard me huff and puff more times than I can count on my hands
Oh,
because I've been dramatic. I've been very
yeah.
dramatic and that is how I feel. But even just sitting here and talking for a little bit before we started recording, I started to feel a little better. So I'm excited that we're here because it always makes me feel better and I need a little boost. How are you?
I'm well. I'm happy that you are feeling better, and I'm happy that and excited that you're here too. So thanks. Yeah, I'm doing well, but I would say yesterday, last night, this morning, I was definitely feeling very depressive. I had a really bad like sleeping experience, not last night, but the night before, which as we've talked about many times, that can carry into your waking space. And it just has like it was like this little gray cloud over my day. And I did follow your advice, Alexis. And right before bed, I did journal a bit, which brought up a lot of feelings. And I was feeling really depressive. Like I couldn't really get out any tears. I couldn't really even speak what was wrong specifically, but I just felt the emotion right there. And unfortunately, my daughter was in the room with me and she basically, like, at least this is how I perceived it. I feel like she kind of took my energy because she was fine. She was dancing around and doing something. And then all of a sudden, like she's like screaming, having a whole meltdown. And like this is not the first time she has like took on my, or I don't want to say she takes it on, but I can tell like she like picks it up and
Hmm.
she just like spews it out because I'm like she was fine. Because especially this time when I asked her, after we got her to calm down and relax and everything, like I was like, what, what were you upset about? And she was like, I don't know. And so I was like, then I got a
A
little
vibe.
like, I can't ever have my own emotions, like it's hard enough for me to like deal with my emotions. Anyways, so that was last night. But in the event of journaling, I didn't have like I had a fine, okay, sleep space. Like I had weird dreams, which we'll talk about. But other than that, like I had a pretty okay sleeping time especially compared to the night before. So this morning, that emotion still kind of carried throughout like the half of my morning, I guess you could say. And then I was okay by the afternoon and stuff. But like I
Good.
also want to remind all of us that we're still in the midst of eclipse season, and we're coming up on, firstly, as we're recording this on August 19th, the moon is in Scorpio and it's a first quarter
Oh,
moon, which is a moon. Actually, that's right in alignment with the lovers and what we'll be talking about today, because it's that duality. Like the first quarter
hmm.
moon is like half light, half dark, and the moon is growing in light at this part of the journey of the cycle. And so the intensity is growing, and we're kind of in this conflicting space of like feeling this emotion, like say like the negative, like the anger, the frustration, the fear, but then also we're having our other moments of feeling like that lightness and like some moments of optimism and joy and all of that. And we are making our way to a lunar eclipse in Pisces. So, ground yourself, folks. Alexis's face. She was
Well,
like,
because of
oh shit.
course I immediately think about my Saturn being in Pisces
Mhm.
and just how like the eclipse and everything along. I already know I'm not anticipating it being bad. That's not what I'm feeling, but I do anticipate it being intense and maybe dramatic.
Yeah, definitely dramatic. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at my calendar right now, and the same day of the eclipse is Mercury Cazimi. Now, Mercury's not retrograde, but nonetheless, like I feel like when Mercury is Cazimi, and this will likely be the case too, because it's on the day of a lunar eclipse, like whatever that aha moment, whatever's coming together to click, or maybe you're waiting on some information, or there's some things that are hidden beneath the surface, but you can't really, like, you can feel it, but you can't put your finger on it. That
Mm.
will likely come to surface by then. Which I'm kind of happy, because I've been having that, like my dreams have been like, you're not facing something, something's hiding, like something's going on
Yep.
in the basement, there's water everywhere, and I'm like, what is it? Because I feel like I've been doing the stuff. So like I feel like when I talk about the cosmic climate, I feel like it comes to fruition for me personally. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna leave it at that. It's gonna be a very like smooth,
Oh
easeful,
yeah.
emotional release that I need, and
Yep.
something coming to light. So be easy, friends.
And it's gonna be like a river, slow
Yeah.
and flowing, not like, a thunderstorm in the ocean. It's gonna be
Yeah.
tame and relaxed
Yeah.
and it's gonna flow. I'm calling that in for myself too, because
Yes. Yeah.
it's things have been so just like, and I keep using the word dramatic, but in lieu of being in Leo season,
Yeah.
that's how it feels. And
It's the season, literally.
it is the season. And so I'm actually pretty excited for Virgo season to start
Yeah.
and to kind of start to feel more of that grounded energy. Because I think this fire, like, you can utilize it great, but on the other hand, you get like
Burnt out too.
burnt out.
Like
And I
emotionally.
am burnt out
Yeah.
and I'm ready to get some grounding, some organization. And of course, with Virgo season, we will be celebrating our second year of having the podcast too. So that's
Yes, I was
exciting.
just thinking that. Yeah. So we are actually going to be going live for that. So we'll share more details in the coming weeks, but we're really excited because it's going to be 2 years. And also should say that we began the podcast, literally, we launched it. I don't know. I think we launched it in the same day we went live. There was an eclipse. I know when we launched it,
I think
there was
so.
eclipse
I
in
think so.
Pisces. So we're actually completing, I'm getting goosebumps. We're
Mhm.
completing an eclipse cycle, like in general, but then also like that initiation of our podcast. So, we were a little bit crazy and adventurous to initiate the podcast with an eclipse, but it was in Pisces, and it's just like, I mean,
And
that's
it
so
was worth
perfect.
it.
It's so perfect for
It
like a
was
dream
perfect.
podcast. Like there were other things going on too with our collective chart. So yeah, we're gonna be really excited to go live to celebrate that. So stay tuned for more details. So, as we mentioned, we are going to chat about the Lover's card and what that means when it shows up, or the energy of the Lover's like archetype in the dream space, specifically the Lover's tarot, right? Tarot archetype. But then we'll also talk about too what it means if you get it in a reading, a tarot reading in reference to a dream.
Yep.
So, as we always do, we're going to start by just talking about this evolutionary journey of the major arcana and naturally how it flows into dreams. So, in our last episode in this series, we talked about the Hierophant, which was interesting because I think we both had a similar uh like feeling about
Revelation.
it. Yeah, feeling coming
Mhm.
full circle where, I just thought the Hierophant, I'm like, you can't tell me what to do and like this is boring. But we did come full circle after deep diving and I love that and I love this series. So if you guys have been experiencing that too, or in general, or we would just like to know what you're experiencing as we journey through the tarot and the major arcana and dreams, let us know in the comments how you feel about this, each card and the journey that you've had with it. So, with the Hierophant, we talked about the Hierophant basically instilling wisdom in some ways, right? Like it's the spiritual teacher, it's the guide, it's also can also be in some ways a gatekeeper, basically similar to the high priestess in some ways, where when you see them, when you encounter them in a reading, you are likely about to endure some sort of lesson. We talked about the high priestess, where the lesson was more of an internal journey,
Mhm.
going through the subconscious mind, learning more about yourself. Like,
Right.
also, you essentially, your subconscious in this case is the teacher. With the Hierophant, we spoke about it being more of like the external teaching, the external wisdom. Do you want to add to that, Alexis?
Yeah, I think for the Hierophant, one of the most important lessons the Hierophant brings is to sit back, observe, and learn all about the system so that you can go in and change it for the better of humanity. And that's kind of what changed my perspective for the Hierophant because I had previously related it a little bit too much to the Emperor, which is more like, you have to do this. The Hierophant is more like, this is going to benefit you and everyone around you. You don't have to do it, but it would be really wise of you and better for your path forward if you did.
Mm.
And so I think when I really dove deeper into the understanding of the Hierophant, I became more attached to the card itself rather than rejecting it. And I'm really not trying to reject any of the cards because they all bring their lessons. But as I mentioned before, I do have issue with authority. And so if there's a card that is putting off that authoritarian, you have to follow these rules, I'm going to be a little rejected of it. Or rejective. Is that a word? Whatever, I'm going to reject it. But, just diving deeper into the understanding of the Hierophant, I really actually value that card significantly more than I thought I ever would. Um, and yeah,
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I struggle with authority. I even struggle with myself being a point of authority, like being a parent too. I'm just kind of like, I mean, can't you just do it? Or I just don't like to nag. I feel like a nag and. So I look at myself actually more as like a guide. Like I'm not here to necessarily force this unless it's like a thing of like danger. But it's like
right.
I'm giving you the wisdom, as one of my friends says, like to her kids, she's like, I have more puzzle pieces than you can see. So I'm informing you, I'm giving you the
Ooh.
insight. And as we naturally move into this lover's archetype, that's the moment where in the journey where you're kind of given a choice. Like when we
Oh
look at
yeah.
the lovers, it definitely naturally, I mean, it says the lovers, right? So we
Hmm.
think about it as relationships coming into union, and that's an aspect of it. But also, I feel even more important is that it's really making a choice, right? And so we've received the wisdom from the Hierophant. You know, we've learned a lot from our own inner wisdom as well. And then all the other little things in between, we've like kind of grown into our own personal power in some ways. And so now with the Lover's card, we are at a choice. We're at a choice point of how we want to move forward, you know,
Hmm.
which ultimately that choice is the opportunity to come into deeper union with yourself, which of course the outside world is a reflection
Yeah.
of our own energy. And so when we come into deeper union with ourselves, that will hopefully naturally better our relationships.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And when I see the Lover's card show up, I do kind of think off the rip that it's boring, like for me personally. And I know that sounds so, I don't know, I feel like everybody wants the Lover's card, but I'm anytime I see it, I'm like, of course, like I whatever, like on to the next thing. Me being a Scorpio rising, of course, I like want something a little more juicy to dig my teeth into. But I think that the Lovers really, when you look at it from the perspective of choice and unity and balance and like self-reflection, and how bringing that all together will help nourish the outside relationships as you focus on finding that balance and unity with yourself, and just like a reminder of like appreciating and being grateful to for the relationships you have, and then of course evaluating the relationships you have, and deciding what works, what doesn't work, if you're sacrificing too much time and energy to these people, and if you're not getting back, again, not having that balance, not having that unity, if you're not getting back what you're putting out, how do you move forward on your path? So I think that this is a multifaceted card, as they all are. But when I see it right off the rip, I do get like but then I sit and I think about it. I'm like, all right, yeah, okay. I do need to do this more. I have to evaluate and do some self-reflection in these regards, and see where my next steps forward are going to be, regard like whether or not it's just me alone or the people around me included.
Mm, I like that. That's a good point. I would say personally, um, when I get the Lover's card, it just depends on what's going on in my life. Like if there's a period of my spiritual journey where I was really heavily invested in exploring divine counterparts.
Mhm.
And for those of you watching the video version, or you're probably listening to the audio version, we have the picture of the OG Rider Waite Smith card on the screen, and we'll go into that here in a second. But yeah, when I was really exploring divine counterparts and I was guiding people with that, this was a card that like for me could represent divine counterparts or divine union, specifically because of the angel on the picture. And
Mhm.
it's like when we get to it, you'll see with the devil card too. I love comparing the devil and the traditional Rider
Oh
Waite
yeah.
with this one because they're like one's the shadow, one's the light almost, where the devil
Mhm.
is in the background like the angel. And so you get that duality with even within those two cards. But with this, it is that divine counterpart. It could also even just be more so coming together as yourself, right? And as we see here, this is like another one of those cards that does have the Christian imagery, with the angel, of course, but even more so, a lot of people will say that this is Adam and Eve, which, you can again say that it's just about us as well, because we had the feminine and masculine archetypes. We had the representation of the Eve energy of the intuition and the receptivity, and then of Adam, like that fiery energy, active and just like, yeah, active oriented, or action oriented, I should say. If you're looking at the card, there's the serpent on the side of Eve with the tree of knowledge, the tree of
Hmm.
knowledge of good and evil. And then with Adam on the other side, you have like this burning, like tree,
Like tree of
basically.
life
The tree,
almost.
yeah. Yeah, it's like an activation kind of energy. And like he's looking at her, she's looking up at the angel. So there's a lot to pick up on here. But I would say the main meanings that I associate with the lover's card before anything else is choice.
Yep.
And when you get to that choice point, it's like the question that when I see the lovers that I'm presented with, it's like, okay, what's going to bring you into deeper union with yourself? Because
Yeah.
again, the deeper, more connected you are to you, that's going to be reflected in your relationships. So, then that's when we get the relational aspect to it and those personal values and beliefs and so forth.
Absolutely. And I think it's really important to open up the conversation for a lot of people who are new to learning the tarot in regards to the Lover's card, because there are so many people who don't know about these cards and what they truly represent. And I think a lot of people, when they see the Lover's card, they kind of want this to be a signaling to them finding a partner, finding their soulmate, whatever it may be. And I mean, I think that allowing yourself to go a little deeper
Mhm.
than the desire of love on the outside is really important, because maybe what you're really desiring is love on the
From
inside. And
mhm.
then when you find that love for yourself on the inside, that person that you're meant to be, you'll connect with. Um, so I just wanted to bring that up because I feel like, as in movies, they use the death and devil as like scared tactics. They use the lover's card in media as like,
Yeah,
oh, your the love of your life is in this room right now behind you. Like, boom.
yeah,
And I just think the way that media in general has been pushing relationships and love being your end goal all the time for our entire life, everything being a love song, everything being a love story. Like I think that we get trapped in this idea that like that's the only thing that we can have to make us happy.
yeah.
And I think this card is a good reflection of just going deeper,
Mm,
understanding yourself deeper, and questioning where the desire comes from.
mm,
Everybody wants love in general just because we're humans and we are communal, but I think that some people, they put this idea of finding the one ahead of themselves and their own like personal wants and beliefs. And of course, everybody is different, but I have met these types of people, and there's like a desperation
mhm.
behind it. And I really think it's more internal and needing internal love and validation. And so, yeah, I just wanted to just bring that up a little bit.
Yeah, I would say for me, like I said, I don't, the lover's card, it depends on the other cards with it, but I generally don't, that's not my go-to.
Right.
Um, I would say like the Two of Cups is more of like that kind of energy, but it's still a union. Again, it's just like, what union, like it is speaks to union, right? So we can
Yes,
go deep
exactly.
on that. But so just to kind of anchor this in that it's beyond the relationship aspect, or I mean, yes, it is still relationships, but the astrological correspondent to this card, and doesn't that, I'm not saying the astrological aspect like therefore since it's Gemini therefore it means this, is just like they're like working together and integrating in that way.
Yeah.
But with Gemini being the astrological correspondent, that again speaks of choice. Like, yes, there's partnership there, there's relation, there's interaction, communicating, but in general, it is the two elements or that aspect of duality coming together, right? And it's like connecting the dots on things. And when I think about Gemini, it's like, again, with the mind and the beliefs and the values and how we process things in the mind. And again, as I had showed in the picture or in the picture that I showed of the traditional card, you have the guy looking at her, and she's the woman in the card is looking at the angel. So you can see almost even this triad too of like him looking at the other, her
Hmm.
also looking up, like kind of outside of herself, but also it's a part of, like, I feel like the angel might even represent the divine too,
Oh
especially
yeah.
since that feminine aspect is like going within and connecting to that inner voice, which is connected to the divine. And so there's these channels of communication that open up the space to making a decision, especially as we mentioned that journey from the Hierophant to the lovers, where it's like, okay, you have the wisdom. Now, how do you choose to move forward on your path?
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I feel like this kind of is touching on Hecate a little bit too with the crossroads,
Mm-hmm.
because having a variety of choices in front of you and having to navigate which one to choose and which ones to let go, um, there's a heaviness to that
Mm-hmm.
because, especially if you're a visual thinker and you kind of visualize all these doors, and then, if you choose one, that means all of these doors disappear in front of your eyes. And like, then that's it. That's your choice. And I think that some people can be so afraid of change
Yeah.
and making a decision and not having anything, like essentially losing opportunity, that they don't choose anything and lose all of the opportunities. So
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this is kind of a good pairing with one of the previous episodes we did on Hecate, and how maybe you
Yeah.
could use her with this card too to
Yeah.
help you with choices.
Yeah, that's a good point. The lover's card does represent like a crossroads or two paths, um, maybe two decisions or this and that. Like in itself, it is a dualistic, has dualistic energy to it. And so that's
Hmm.
definitely a very strong um res meaning to it, reflection to it. Let's share our cards, and maybe we can share our dream space, how that was impacted when we slept with the cards. Are you down for that?
Oh yeah, there's not going to be much to tell, but
Right. Yeah, I know. Um, I guess I'll share first. And of course, I lost the page of the description. But anyway, I had a total lovers Gemini moment last night when I decided to sleep with this card. So I generally use the Rider Waite Smith deck. I don't know why. I mean, I think it's like my Capricorn. It's like traditional. This
traditional.
is what I like started out with. And it's just like I use other decks, but I always go back to like it's like my worker deck, like my workhorse.
Right. And you know it.
Right. And I know it so well. Like I have such a strong connection. So in the lover's card is like a card that I like. Um, and so I was like, oh, I want to sleep with the Rider Waite Smith version. And I want to sleep with, but then I was like, let me look at the other one and see what that is. And I'll show you guys. So then I
Ooh,
was like, oh, I love this one. So I
that's
wanted to sleep with
beautiful.
both of them. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to sleep with both of them, which was totally a lover's experience.
Hell yeah.
But I didn't make like, I mean, maybe I failed. I didn't make the choice. Yeah. And but I'm gonna share with you guys. I'm gonna pin this real quick. I'm gonna share with you guys the meaning of this card. So, depending on the artist, it's gonna be a little different for like each deck. And I love this one. I feel this one is more, maybe a little bit more romantic.
Hmm.
And I love that it's in this almond shape, which essentially is the Vesica Pisces. And this is it does say the lovers. It does have the Gemini glyph and constellation. So this is Osiris and Isis. And with this card specifically, the keywords are choices, union, harmony, balance, communication, and partnership. And it says the lovers represents unity, harmony, and balance between opposites. Um, this card is not just about romantic relationships, but also about the choices one makes and the balance between desires and values. It signifies the merging of opposites, the synthesis of different forces, and the potential for new creation. In a reading, it could suggest a partnership or union or a choice that must be made with the heart and mind in alignment. The Lovers also emphasizes the importance of communication, trust, and the harmony of opposites. In the reverse position, the Lovers may indicate disharmony, imbalance, or a choice made out of desperation or without full understanding. It could also suggest a relationship based on superficiality or an avoidance of commitment. This position may also highlight conflicts in values or the challenges of a partnership.
Hmm.
So that tracks.
Yeah. I mean, I mine is essentially like very similar. I
Oh,
mean, and it's the Lover's card, so of course there's not a whole lot of like wiggle room in regards to
yeah.
different tarot decks interpretations of the Lovers from what I've seen. So this is my card.
Okay. I was wondering how it was going to look in your deck. Cool.
So, the Lovers represents union, harmony, and choices in relationships. An entwined couple is encircled by Aurora Boreas, symbolizing eternal cycles, and flanked by a world snake emerging from an egg, signifying creation. Proceeding from the messenger, the Hierophant, which brings wisdom and guidance, the Lovers focuses on harmony and decisions that shape connections. So the Lovers keywords: union, harmony, love, choices, partnership, the self-reflection, disconnection, and self-improvement. Um, the Lovers signify union and harmony in relationships. It represents a time of strong connections and mutual understandings where love and partnership thrive. This card encourages embracing the choices that led to deeper bonds and harmonious relationships, emphasizing the importance of balance. And then the Self. Beware the cruel physics of love. Those who crave it most only repel it, while those who have it only require more. What parts of yourself have you not loved lately? Your relationship with yourself is crucial, and the Self encourages us to reflect and address internal conflicts and focus on improving ourselves. If we start loving ourselves, we attract more love from others. So yeah, and that's kind of what I was saying earlier, that like I feel like a lot of people are kind of so stuck on wanting love that
Yeah.
they're missing something in themselves, that they have to heal themselves before that comes. And I mean, you might find it before you start working on that. It's just going to probably be a little rocky, you
Yeah.
know. But yeah, I just the interpretations are very very
Yeah.
similar.
I thought it
So
was interesting that your card, the interpretation reflected like pretty much everything that you were kind of bringing to the table about like the self love and all of that, going deeper with yourself. And I feel like my card, the interpretation of the card that I have, it touched on that a little bit, but it also touched a lot more on the choices, like making
choices, yep.
decisions and values and beliefs. So that's really interesting. I like how
That
that.
is interesting. And I think both of the interpretations are like for me vital, because I think that choices and balance and understanding are like equally as important and necessary for self-growth,
Mhm.
and growth in relationships, because you could choose to take your anger out on somebody you love and not resolve the issue within yourself and not reflect on how you're acting. And that can cause the relationship to have hiccups, possibly end it, or you could choose to figure out what's going on that's causing you to feel this anger and try to resolve it and pay more attention to the way you treat others when you're feeling this way about yourself. Um, and of course, it's so nuanced. Like that's one very specific example. There
Mhm.
are so many different ways that this can come into effect. But choices are choices, and they affect your every moment of your life.
No, I agree. So, as we do, we decided to sleep with our cards. As I mentioned, I couldn't decide, so I slept with both to see what came forth. And honestly, I don't know, like even reading the interpretation, I just I don't know how the hell this dream, what message was coming through. But anyway, basically, from the little bit that I remember, I was at my mother's house, and I don't know if I was living there like full time or I was just visiting. But anyway, she got a new car, and I remember, but like, okay, so she got a new car. I was there, Sidori was there, and there was like some other random person there. And I remember though, like, it was kind of like the morning and we were getting up.
Mhm.
And I remember in the rooms and in the hallway, there were like these like things growing out of the wall. And at first it was really small, kind of almost looked like a pine cone. It was really weird. And then it like
Hmm.
over time, like through the dream, and it like the dream wasn't long, but it got like bigger and bigger. It started coming out of the wall more and more. And like, oh, it like creeps me out when I think about it. I have chills right now. But then, and so I was kind of like, I saw it, but I kind of ignored it because I was like, oh, it's a part of like the house or whatever. And then I went to my mom's room and she was laying down, but it looked like my living room, but she was like laying, but there was no mattress or anything. She was just on the side of the wall and it was just like laying like flat. Like there would be a couch
Hmm.
mattress underneath her. And I'm like, what the heck? So then I walk in the hallway and Sidori's up, my daughter is up, and she's saying like, oh, like these, I forgot what she said. Like, I don't think she called it a skull, but like she was like, these whatever are growing out of the wall. And I look and it's like an animal like skull. So like the what looked like a pine cone that was coming out were like antlers of some kind. It was really
Oh.
weird. It I don't know why it gives me the ick, but it like it just ugh. And it was weird, and there were multiple places in the house. And then I remember like in the act of hearing that, I heard my mom's garage open, but she doesn't have a garage. So it was obviously a mix between her house and my house.
Yep.
Um, and my mom gets up because she's like, her car is the only thing in the garage. She was like, who the hell is taking my car? And it was like one of her friends like came and like stole her car or something. And then I like, there's a little bit that went on
Oh.
in the dream, but I like not super important. But then I woke up. Like the most, like, I would say the most power or potent symbol was the thing growing out of the wall. Because I remember I could take it out and it was like a skull of some sort of animal, like almost I want to say a ram, but not. It was weird. So yeah. Why are you looking?
That's because something just fell out of my like
Oh
window, like fell
my
from my window, and like I don't know what it is. So I
God.
just
See,
was
I'm
like,
already into like eerie. I've been having some eerie dreams. I gotta do a clearing on my home.
I don't know, that freaked me out. Oh,
Yeah,
it's a
your face. I
freaking
was like,
ladybug. It's
oh,
a ladybug. It fell from the freaking blinds, and now it's crawling back up.
it didn't even fly, it just like fell.
Yeah, just
Wow.
fell.
Oh, that's nice. That's a good sign. That's
I
some
hope
good
so.
vibes.
It didn't die, so
Yeah. No, they're really good vibes, good fortune. Especially if you catch your
sorry
attention
about
like
that.
that.
But going back to your dream, I think that this relates to the Lover's card, um, especially with your choice to ignore what was growing out of the wall.
Mm.
Like I think that decision is a reflection of your choices. So
Yeah.
like what are these things that are growing out of the wall? What are they reflecting in the waking space? Like if it is a ram, a skull from a ram, like what does the ram represent to you, and it being dead and it in a skull form rather than in living form? And what how could that reflect certain things that you might be struggling with in regards to choice on your path forward in the waking space?
That's true. And like I'm thinking about it too, because it started out as like a pine cone, which actually, when I think about the pine cone, it kind of makes me think about this because this is about the Vesica Pisces is the like womb of creation.
Mm-hmm.
The pine cone is connected to the third eye. Like it's all kind of connected in, the sacred geometry way. And like also this has, I mean, it's not horns, but the cobras kind of have that. That also stood out to me too.
Yeah.
And when you were saying that, I just think like something's emerging, and I think maybe these dreams are pointing to like my fears around it. Also like having to, I guess, like confront other fears in the process and like so I can finally move on.
Yeah,
So that makes sense. I didn't even think about that. So thank you.
of course. And I'm just doing a real quick like look up because I want to see what the spiritual symbolism of a ram skull would be. I know it wasn't exactly a ram skull, but
But
it
that's
was
what came to
similar.
mind. Like that's the closest thing I can think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let me see. Because I feel like that's so significant. So, so the ram skull centers around resilience, raw power, determination, and the boundary between life and death. So maybe thinking about like the aspect of power determination, maybe there's
Mm. Mm-hmm.
more of that energy that you need to tap into in order to move forward on your path that maybe you're not tapping into
Yeah.
right now, or like you're avoiding because of one thing or the next, like, or just ignoring. There's a variety of reasons why we don't tap into these certain feelings, but like maybe this dream is kind of calling you to make the choice to really hone in on that raw power and determination and resilience and kind of moving forward with that in wherever you need it. And I don't know. I thought that
I,
was so significant
I'm
in
so
just
glad you looked that up. And now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like this makes so much sense because right now the area of life that's activated in my chart is the sixth house and it's ruled by Aries in my chart. Well, in your chart too. But so Aries is activated, Aries energy. And so therefore Mars is my planet of the year, my Lord of the year. And so that makes sense too. And last night when I thought I was looking at the current transits. I swear I hit the current transits on my app. So I was comparing my birth chart to what was happening because I told you I was
Mhm.
feeling all this stuff. And this wasn't what was currently happening, but I think I was meant to see it anyways because it ties into this. What I saw was that Mars, transiting Mars, was on my node, my south node in Taurus, or my north node in Taurus, which shouldn't be the case because Mars is in Cancer. So that was like from months ago. But I mean, that aligns for me because of like that, like where I'm going, like with the North Node
Mhm.
and everything. And Taurus is another, like, kind of bull, like
Bull,
type
yep,
energy. Yeah, like they can have horns, like,
antler or
yeah,
horns.
horns. Yeah. And so, thank you. That tracks. So I have some stuff to reflect on. See, guys, like um, yeah, this is great. And I guess we didn't mention, but the reason why we're talking about this, the reason why we slept with the cards is because it's an act of divination, dream divination, divination with tarot, like joining together those two disciplines by putting a card under your pillow and seeing
Hmm.
what messages come through that archetype. So
Absolutely.
that's what we were doing.
Absolutely. Wow, what a dream to have. I'm so envious because I want to remember and be able to communicate the dream I had last night. And like I can I hate this. I hate when it's like this where you can see the dream, but it just kind of keeps being pulled away from you. So it's like when you have a word
Yeah. Yeah.
on the tip of your tongue and you just can't get it, but you know it, like you can feel it in your bones.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so upset because I slept with a card last night and I had woken up in the morning and I remembered my dreams and I was like, this is significant. And I actually, now that I'm thinking about it, when I was in the dream before I woke up, I had said out loud that this was like important and
Oh,
like reflective of the lover's card. And then I woke up and I was like, yes, yes, this is important. And then I fell back to sleep and I was woken up the second time, like I was kind of scared out of my sleep, and everything disappeared.
uh,
Everything
yeah.
disappeared.
Well, it's
Nothing
gonna
disappeared.
come, it'll come back, being that you noted it in dream and you know it outside of the dream as far as it being important, it's gonna come back and you have to let us know. Like I think
I
something will
hope
click.
so.
something might happen in your waking life where you're like, oh shit, there it is. Or maybe you'll have like a part two in your dream space.
Fingers are crossed because I like it just drives me nuts because I literally was noting in the dream how this was related to the card and how it was going to be great for like our conversation.
Yeah.
But, even just thinking about the symbolism of how we experience life, how can the lover's card be reflected in me not remembering what I felt was so important to remember?
Mm-hmm.
So just going back to, sleep hygiene and making the choices to have a better routine and maybe even, acknowledging the choice that I woke up out of my dream and I didn't write anything down. I went right to sleep. And,
Mm-hmm.
that may not have been entirely my fault because I was tired and I didn't
Yeah.
grasp waking entirely, but maybe I could have if I put a little effort into it. So, I'm a little disappointed, but everything plays its role. So I have to do better with my dream work.
Yeah.
I was so excited because for like a month straight, I was writing down all my dreams. And I then, as soon as that cycle was over, like I just stopped.
Yeah. Well, it cycles, it goes through phases, it waxes and wanes. And, what are you going to do? I didn't write that one down, but I remember because it was like very close to, I don't know, it was just such a weird dream that I was like, there's no way. Like, I don't
Yeah.
remember much else of it, but I remember, like, because I can see it in my
Yeah.
mind, which I'm just like, and it gives me kind of the ick. It was just the way it was like, it's like the same feeling when I see, it's hard for me to see things in like swarms, like a swarm of like a group of ants all together,
Yeah.
or like a swarm of like even seeing bees like crawling over like a honeycomb or whatever. Like it's I love bees and I love that, but like to see it, I'm just like, ooh, it's like creepy crawly. That's how it
Hmm.
was because I remember it was kind of like turning a little bit while I was coming out of the wall, and it was like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm just like, all
It
right,
makes me feel like it reminds me of like Fear Factor, where they would put you in like a clear box with
yeah,
like
oh,
100 spiders or
oh
some
my
shit,
gosh,
like a
I
bunch
know.
of snakes
Just
and
seeing
like
things all
bees and
together.
stuff.
Like I'm fine with the couple here and there. Like I can see bees outside on like flowers and doing their thing, but if I see them all like, ugh, it just gives me the EBGBs.
I
Um,
feel that way a little bit about humans too.
right. That's your Aquarius talking and a little bit of Scorpio. No, I get that though. So we're gonna continue and just we kind of basically touched on the lovers as far as like how they would show up in your dreams or like the dream symbols. I mean, we can go a little bit more. We talked about two paths,
Hmm.
crossroads, twin
Doors,
is definitely a thing, doors, mirrors, so like reflective things. Um,
choices may be prompted by
yeah,
dream people.
yeah,
Like you might have a dream where there's someone in front of you asking you to make a choice. Like, do you want, immediately I think of like Matrix, like red pill or blue pill.
yeah,
But I mean, in any way, it could be like picking a bouquet of flowers or like, what kind of coffee you want and like kind of reflecting on the emotions you feel, what that thing they're asking you to choose between, like what the symbolism is and how it reflects into your waking space, how it makes you feel, and how it might reflect the decision you have to make.
mhm,
But like in that case, pay attention to the dream person, who it is, how you feel with them, because that could relate to your waking space and the people in your waking space.
mhm. Yeah, and like now that I'm thinking about it, I was like, wow, I had two lovers type dreams back to back, like nights back to back, like the one I just shared, and then a dream I had before um was like there were mirrors in the dream, and there was definitely I was like in this act of like making decisions or choosing, and I also felt like I didn't have control at some point of the choice, like just the person wasn't going away.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I think that that's one of the emotional feels or emotional tones of like the lover's like vibe or archetype in your dream is like you feel like you're in a space of either like indecision or you have to make a choice or you're at a crossroads. Maybe there is some feeling of escapism as well that can come with that, because it's like, well, I like absolutely don't want to do this. So it's like you have these extremes or the duality in that way, just feeling conflicted, feeling torn about what to do. I think also lucid dreams in itself can be an active, like
Oh,
the
for sure.
lovers kind of energy, where it's like all of a sudden when you're lucid in a dream, you have a choice. You always have the choice of like, do I go with the dream or do I change things?
Yep.
Um, so I would say that in itself kind of has that same vibe to it.
Absolutely. I think another thing to bring up is like the aspect of balance, like how maybe the scales might show up in your dream space or something reflective of needing to find balance in your life. You could have past relationships come through. You could have
Mhm.
past lovers come through, past friendships come through. You could even have your past self come through, you
Yeah.
know, maybe like a child self or a teenage self or a young adult self or just another version of yourself from whenever. And it's kind of bringing up who you were during that period of your life and maybe how you can incorporate those aspects into your path forward
Mhm.
or let go of things that no longer serve you from that time period. Um, And that is a choice, you know, letting go or deciding to take something with you and carrying it into your future. Like those are choices. Not that I have to verify that, but I think when it comes to that aspect, it's good to know. Um, but yeah, really pay attention to, especially when like people, and I know I said this about the dream people in general, but when the people in your life who you know show up in your dream space, really evaluate like
Mhm.
why they might be there. What do they mean to you? What's the status of your relationship with them right now? Are
Mhm.
you on good terms? Are you on bad terms? Do they make you feel uncomfortable? Do they make you feel happy? Do they reflect aspects of yourself that you don't like or reflect aspects of yourself that you do like? And these are all just things to consider when these people pop up.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I just thought about recently just in my own like this whole experience of like choices and choosing, and I've just been really deep diving into the act, I guess, of timeline shifting timelines, which is different paths, right? If we think about it. And I don't know, that just kind of that falls into this energy as well. And I'm like, gosh, am I having like a whole lovers Gemini kind of experience right now in my life? Because that's something that's really very, very much alive in my space of like choosing the path, and also doing your best not to bypass, right? Like your current
Mm,
situation, and really like making the choices in your life from a like a grounded, like safe place, but also being able to have the courage to, you know, face, you know, whatever it is you need to face in order like to choose the quote unquote right path for yourself moving forward. So,
right. I mean, and choosing not to choose is a choice in itself.
right. Yeah,
You
that
know,
is.
like I mentioned before, you might have these opportunities and you're so stuck on indecision that you don't make a choice. And
Mhm,
then you lose all your opportunities because you didn't actually make a choice. You know, sometimes making the choice with fear is better than making no choices at all.
mhm.
But yeah, ignoring your issues is not suggested. um, they're not going to go away. They're always going to be there. If you ignore them, they're probably going to get worse. And, you know, coming from somebody who has very much ignored my issues in the past
Believer
and to an
tendency.
extent still do. We're
We
human.
all
This is our
do.
first go around in this specific thing that we know of.
Hey, we all have Libra and Gemini in our chart. I'm trying to think of the other signs that are like indecisive. But yeah, so we all have it. We're all human. So I think we did a really good job of expressing this. And I think that just in reflection here in the moment, I I had kind of a neutral, I feel like I'm in a neutral space with the lovers because it used to be a favorite card and I'm not mad when I see it. I'm not like, ugh, like the emperor. But I'm also not like, like the high priestess or the empress. So I feel like it definitely has deepened my connection with it a bit. Like now when I see it, like I won't be surprised if I see it in my next reading because this definitely feels like the energy that I'm in right now. Maybe that a
Yep,
lot of us are in. I feel um,
I absolutely agree. Look,
you know,
we did not plan specific transits or anything for these tarot episodes. But I do have to say, every single time we do a card, it seems like
yeah.
we're in alignment with the themes of the card. So take
I'm excited then because the
take what you
next
will from
one's
that.
going to be the chariot and I need some of that. I'm like, I got to move forward. I got to like get going with this. Like,
Sorry, that freaking lady. This
woo,
ladybug
this
is gonna
ladybug is
end my
keeping
life.
something.
If you don't hear from me for the rest of the night, just know that I was killed by a ladybug.
The ladybug is such good vibes. Oh my gosh. Like, that's a whole total like vibe shift compared to the centipede. So I'm gonna have to look
You're
that up
right.
for you.
You are
Yeah.
right. I
Yeah.
am
Because it's
taking
like,
that with like I if I just get jump scared easily, like I'm just any little jump
yeah,
scares me.
very sensitive.
And
Yeah.
it feels like this ladybug is trying to get my attention
Oh,
because one, it made such a loud noise falling from the top of my freaking blinds and then, was crawling up the wall and that's how I saw it. And now it just fell again, but it landed right in
maybe
front of
its
me.
wings are like not working. Maybe it's
And
got a broken wing or something.
it
'Cause
had
it's
its
moving a
wings
lot.
out when it was on the thing and they looked like straight and normal. I
Mhm.
think maybe he keeps kind of like bumping into the window,
Yeah. Huh.
just kind of like,
Very
yeah,
special.
yes.
Very special.
But
Um,
I'll keep that in mind. I'm gonna kind of lean into that energy, especially
yeah.
luck.
Ladybugs are
I need
very
luck.
good
Give
fortune
me
symbols.
luck. Give me good fortune,
Ladybug,
please.
right? Um, yeah, and then I feel like part of that's coming over in this space too, because I'm like witnessing all of this. But anyway,
Takes a
thank
lot.
you everyone for listening. We'll be back next week. We're going to have a special guest who's been on our podcast before. Her name is Sarah. She's part of she is Dream Oracle for You. She will be chatting with us next week, and we're going to get to listen to her journey with lucid dreaming and how she had like a new experience in it that was suggested by us. So I'm really curious to hear how it unfolded and let us know in the comments how you felt about this chat and how you felt about the lovers. If you have these themes in your dreams, often all the things we want to know, we would love to know. So please feel free to comment. Anything else from you, Alexis?
No, I mean, I think this is a great opportunity to remind you guys, as if we didn't tell you 100 times throughout the episode, take some time now to pay attention to the choices you make. Or, just like consider what is in front of you and remind yourself that making a decision is better than sitting in indecision. Make a choice.
Do it.
Create a new path forward.
Right.
I promise you, it sounds a lot scarier than it actually is.
Right.
The weight and the alleviation of making a choice, like, especially if it's something that is in regards to what's not serving you anymore, once you make the choice and, like, declare what you want to do and start moving forward away from that thing that doesn't serve you anymore, it's like a weight off your shoulder.
Mm.
And you have to remember one door closes, another one will open.
Yeah. Alrighty, friends. So thank you so much for listening. Please like the video, please share with a friend, and we will see you next week.
Sweet dreams.
Sweet dreams.